Let's start dragging in our 2-song set list. So I'm going to start with Fierce as our first song. Probably the first thing I'm going to do. In this first scene here, I'm going to type in the BPM for the song, which, let me pull that up. It is, from Out of Planning Center, it is 79 BPM. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, you can either right click and hit rename or hit Command R. You can see the keyboard shortcut, and I definitely recommend learning the shortcuts. So 79 BPM. And it's also in 4/4. You could also put in here, if you wanted to, the title, right? Fierce, or even the specific type, maybe a certain arrangement, you can type all that stuff in. But the cool thing is, Ableton Live actually kind of reads this stuff. It can see BPM, so don't misspell it. But whatever number you put in here, it will then assign, whenever this scene is launched, it will make sure that your global tempo, which is up here, matches what you have typed in here. And it will make sure that if it's in 4/4, that this over here, again, globally is going to be 4/4. And where that comes into play the most is when you start wanting to, pitch shift things to transpose it, that kind of stuff, or change your tempos, which gets into warping. We'll get there. For right now, just know to do this, and we'll show some examples where having this is really important. Next, what a beautiful name, which that one is 68 BPM. And I'll just type in beautiful name, 68 BPM. This is also in 4/4. All right, and you can do some fun things too, where if you wanted to color code these scenes, you could right click and just select something. So we got our colors going on here, which again, you don't have to do. You can select no color. But we got our 2 songs. Again, each scene corresponds to a song. So let's start dropping in some tracks here. We're going to use just the tracks themselves. So the click for Fierce, I'm pulling in. Now I'm pulling this in from my stems folder. So wherever you have all your files and stuff saved, I've also added it to these places by clicking add a folder. So it's an easier, quicker way to start dragging stuff in rather than going into the Finder or wherever you're having to search for it and that kind of stuff. So if you have places that you go to often, definitely add it over here. So it's a lot quicker to drop stuff in. All right, so I just add the click. We need the guide. So we make sure we get to the right spots. Let's throw some keys. And again, just whatever you might need on a given week. For right now, I'm just dropping in electric rhythm and stuff. And if you ever have stuff in here and you need to actually see, okay, wait, what file is this? Because maybe the file name is really long and you don't want to have to drag it all the way out to see the name of it. You can just hover over it, and there at the bottom, very bottom of the program there, you can see the name of the file. Definitely comes in handy. So we've got the files in that we want for Fierce. Let's go ahead and do this same thing for What a Beautiful Name. We're going to drag and drop, click, guide. Let's just drop maybe keys in there. And let's just do some strings. How about that? All right, so all these guys are in. Something else I'm going to do is change this global quantization here to none. What that allows us to do is that as soon as we fire our scenes, it's when it's going to fire that scene. It's not trying to quantize it. Another way to say it, it's not trying to conform it to fall in a certain time. All right, so if we wanted it to fall to the nearest bar, the nearest measure of the song, you would set this to 1 bar.
1, 2, 1.
Even though I hit this on beat 2,
4.
you can see how it doesn't fire it until it's at the top of a measure, which you can see on this counter up here.
3, 4.
Which can be funny sometimes. Say if you're trying to stop, which this is the stop all clips button down here at the bottom. You're like, why hasn't it stopped yet? Well, it's because it's quantized to 1 bar. It's waiting for the nearest bar. Which for a set like this, the way that we're doing it, you don't need it. I would just keep it to none.
1, 2.
And then as soon as you click it, it's going to fire all these files in this scene.
1, 1, 1,
right? So you kind of notice I'm stopping all the clips with this button, but there's also a stop up here at the top. And this kind of gets into the differences between this session view and the arrangement view over here. This stop is kind of the global big picture stop. I mean, it just
1, 2,
stops, which makes sense, right? But you compare
1,
that to this
2.
stop. Even though the clips, these tracks and everything have stopped, time is still moving. What this enables you to do is if you wanted to say like you were arranging or creating a song on the fly, you could actually be recording your performance and trigger all kinds of samples and files and all this kind of stuff, you know, stuff that we're not really using it for, but may be nice in like a DJ type of application where you can compose non-linearly on the fly, all this kind of stuff, and then your performance will be recorded in here over in the arrangement view. So again, that's why there's kind of these two stops. One is stopping everything, time, everything flat. The other is just stopping clips, but time is still progressing. But for the most
1,
part, you're just going to use the
2.
stop all clips. But just know that you can also individually stop a clip with these buttons down here as well.